For those of you who say that Michael Jordan earned all of his championships and that the league gave LeBron all of his rings, yada yada, you're in for a surprise. Because the NBA was as rigged and scripted in 1995, 1996 as it was today. The 1995-1996 Bulls is known as the greatest team ever. Up until the 2015-16 Warriors, the Bulls finished with the most regular season wins ever of all time. The only difference was, of course, LeBron James defeated the Warriors in the NBA Finals. They blew a 3-1 lead, but the Bulls won the championship. Michael Jordan, born in 1963, the year of the rabbit, his fourth championship in 1996 was always going to be his greatest championship. The Bulls' 72 wins was completely rigged and completely scripted for Michael Jordan to be the marketed god figure in basketball who was going to expand the game globally. The 1995 Bulls was the greatest team ever in basketball history. It is greatest that equals 95. Here's why the Bulls were the greatest team ever, winning 72 games in the NBA championship. It is greatest NBA player that equals 72. Michael's middle name is Jeffrey. Michael Jeffrey equals 72. The greatest NBA player is Mr. Michael Jordan. This is why the Bulls' 72 wins was completely rigged and completely scripted. It is Mr. Michael Jordan that is the basketball god, who is the beast who has been marked, because Michael Jordan is something more godlier than he really is. Don't forget, this is the same guy that didn't win a championship in his first 7 years. Then, after Magic Johnson retired, basketball, David Stern, the powers that be, the NBA owners wanted to accelerate the expansion of the game. When you have this in a really individualistic sport with 5 guys on each team, you need that one guy to be the most godliest figure ever in basketball, who would win the championship and score all the points every single year. This is what Michael Jordan symbolized. It is Jordan. It is J that is the 10th letter in the alphabet. This is why the Bulls lost 10 games during the regular season. The difference between 72 and 10 is a win-loss differential of 62. In gematria, it is Jordan that equals 62. The difference of 72 and 10 is 62. This is how it was scripted. Jordan, once again, was the god figure of the NBA. It's Jordan. It's God that equals 26. The 1995-96 Bulls compiled the greatest combined regular and postseason record of 87-13. The 87 wins for the Bulls is significant to the greatest player ever. The greatest NBA player equals 87. This is why the Bulls won a total of 87 games during that entire season. Entering the NBA Finals against the Supersonics, the Bulls had 83 wins. The narrative was surrounding around Michael Jordan being the greatest player ever, because the greatest basketballer equals 83. A basketballer is one who plays basketball. Why were the Supersonics in that NBA championship? Let's start with the Seattle Supersonics win total for that season. The Supersonics were also really dominant that season. The Supersonics won 64 games during the regular season. In gematria, it is greatest player. That is Michael Jordan that equals 64. Also, the simple gematria of greatest player connects to Michael Jordan's birthday. Michael Jordan was born on February the 17th. February the 17th can be written out as the 17th day of the second month. In other words, 172. The 17th day of the second month is a simple gematria reference to the NBA's greatest player. It is greatest player. It is the Chicago Bulls that has a Pythagorean gematria of 64. This is why the Supersonics, in their 64 regular season wins, were taking on the Bulls during that scripted NBA Finals. Now, I would like to break down the revelation decode for that season. It was the 50th season of the NBA. There were 49 prior seasons in the NBA. The Chicago Bulls' three-peat run began during that time. It is revelation that equals 49. It is Chicago Bulls that has gematria of 49. Not only does Chicago Bulls equal 49, but the Seattle Supersonics were from Washington. It is Washington that has gematria of 49. This is why this is a very, very significant tribute. It is a revelation of what's to come for the greatest player and the greatest team in NBA history. This is why the Bulls faced off against the Sonics, because it was all one big revelation decode. The NBA Finals was clinched on June the 16th. The amount of time from Michael Jordan's birthday of February the 17th to June the 16th is under 21 days. This is the significance of the revelation decode after 49 prior NBA Finals and the 50th NBA Finals. Not only that, 17 weeks and 2 days later, that's Michael Jordan's birthday when you include the end day. This is what Michael was born to do. The 17th day of February was his birthday. This is why he clinched the championship of the greatest team ever 17 weeks and 2 days later. Also, it is God in Pythagorean gematria that equals 17. This is really significant in a really big way. This is a huge revelation decode. The NBA season in 1995-1996 began on November the 3rd, 11-3. It is Michael Jordan that has gematria of under 13. One of his teammates is Ron Harper. Ron Harper equals under 13. Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman was a big acquisition for the Bulls. He made them a really dominant team defensively. He was acquired from the San Antonio Spurs. It was his first season. Dennis Rodman, 130. Washington equals 130. Phil Jackson coached the Bulls to victory. Jackson equals 17. His first win in the playoffs was win number 73. It's Seattle that equals 19. All this is completely rigged and scripted to the Kabbalah code of gematria, the practice of coding letters and words into numbers. 11-3, the beginning of that season. The amount of time from November the 3rd to June the 16th, the day that the Bulls clinched the championship. 32 weeks later. And we're talking about the greatest team in NBA history that began its season in the year 95. The first reference connects with that date duration. The amount of time from the start of the season to Michael Jordan's birthday, 3 months and 14 days. This is the value of pi, the symbol of time, that it's time to dominate. 106 days later is the gematria of prophecy. 107 days later, including the end day, references to the Messiah, Michael Jordan. Because in gematria, it's the Messiah that equals 107 and 44. Now, in the 1995-96 Chicago Bulls season, first of all, the Bulls won their first 37 games at home. They started 37-0 at home. That was completely scripted, because it's Chicago that equals 37 in gematria. This is why the Bulls began 37-0 at home. And then the Bulls had an NBA record 44-game winning streak for this invincible team, with the Messiah, Michael Jordan, the chosen one. Chosen one, the Messiah. This 44-game win streak that was the part of the beginning of the three-peat for the future champions of the NBA. The Bulls won 33 road wins, the most in NBA history until the Golden State Warriors did so. It's Michael that has Gematria 33. Masonry. NBA Finals equals 33. The NBA's GOAT, Michael Jordan, on the greatest team ever, defeated the Sonics. The NBA's GOAT plays on the Chicago Bulls. This three-peat run in the playoffs began against the Miami Heat in a sweep. The defending champion was Houston. It's Houston that equals under 12. Now let me show you up here on the Gematrinator that the greatest team ever, featuring the NBA's GOAT at that time, defeated the Sonics. The Sonics also has Gematria of under 12 and 40. This is why the NBA's GOAT on his greatest team ever that won the ring in 72 regular season games ended up beating the Sonics in that particular championship. It's the Sonics that equals 40. It's Pippen that equals 40. Scottie Pippen, once again, a central force on the Chicago Bulls. How about the birthday? February the 17th for Michael Jordan of 1996. Birthday numerology of 35. I like to discover what's the significance of that. February the 17th of 1996 is a under 34. This was the beginning of the run for the assassin of the NBA. It's the assassin that equals under 34. That's why his birthday numerology was 35, because Michael Jordan was supposed to dominate and absolutely beat the living crap of anything that stood in his way. It was all scripted that way, everybody. The Bulls' 30th season. I'm not sure what's the significance of 30, to be honest. There was also an 18-game winning streak during that particular start of 41-3. San Antonio equals 41. Dennis Rodman, they got from San Antonio, made them really dominant defensively. Now let's scroll down to the playoff run. For the 1995-1996 Chicago Bulls. Let's go down to the postseason. Let's decode that. So the Bulls swept the Miami Heat. The Bulls' playoff run began on April the 26th. It's Jordan that equals 26. February the 26th of the year 96 is under 26. Once again, it is Michael Jeffrey that equals under 26. April the 26th of 1996 adds up to 145. It is Chicago Bulls. The Chicago Bulls, I should say, that equals 145. What day of the year is April the 26th? Okay, 115 prior days. I need to check the significance of that. Start of the season on November the 3rd. 59 days remain until the end year when you include the end date. November the 3rd is the 307th day. Once again, it's Chicago that equals 37. I think that's the significance of the season beginning on November the 3rd of 1995. 1131995 is 29. It's Messiah that equals. It's Messiah that equals 29. That's another thing with that. So you think about Messiah and you think about, Jesus, God and whatnot. The difference of 87 and 13 losses for the Bulls is 74. 74 is the God number. The seventh and the fourth letter. That's how the Hebrews write out God. This is how your Zionists run the NBA. The assassin once again. Blowout victory for Michael Jordan. 35 points. The Chicago Bulls won in a 31-point blowout. In my Gematria calculator, it's the Heat that has Gematria 31. This is why the Bulls won that game by 31 points. That was scripted, believe me. So this is 75 wins. Then the Bulls' 76th win of the season was Game 1 against the New York Knicks. The New York Knicks equals 76. That's why. Now, I want you to notice, too, that the Bulls' 79th win against the Knicks clinched that playoff series. They entered the conference finals against the Orlando Magic with 79 wins entering that series. It's interesting that it's Sonics that equals 79, Champion equals 79. It's Orlando that equals 79. So they entered that series with 79 wins, the Chicago Bulls, entering the Eastern Conference Finals with 79 wins against the Magic. And this was a clue that they would end up facing off against the Sonics in the NBA Finals. Definitely. So, the Bulls and the Knicks. The Bulls defeat the Knicks behind 44 points for Jordan. It's Messiah, it's 3P, it's Chosen One, it's Champions at 44. The Bulls lost Game 3 in overtime despite 46 points from Michael Jordan. Once again, it's Chicago. That equals 46. In simple gematria, you see that right there. Jordan's 46 points. We can't go to the closing games of that. Michael Jordan scores 45 points in the conference finals to clinch that series. It's the Bulls that are from Illinois. Once I go up here in my gematria calculator, it is Illinois that equals 45 and 99. It's invincible. The Bulls were truly invincible that year. It's the Bulls. It's Dynasty that equals 27. This three-peat run that began against Miami Dynasty. This part 2 began against Miami 27. It's three-peat. It's this three-peat run in the playoffs that began against Miami. Miami was the first playoff team that they beat during this three-peat run. Continuing on with the NBA Finals. So this was a clean sweep of the Orlando Magic. The closing game against the New York Knicks, once again, Michael Jordan with 35 points. The Assassin equals 35. It's Dynasty. It's the Bulls that equals 27. 27 points from Michael Jordan. It's God that equals 26. It's Jordan that's 26. Jordan scores 26 points to clinch that series. It's Messiah that's 29. Michael Jordan's 29 points. The scripted career of Michael Jordan. 22. That's pretty interesting. The series was 3-2 Bulls. The script was about the Bulls becoming the greatest team ever. Greatest equals 32. The Bulls were up 32. And they shut them out. They shut them out. I want you to notice that the Bulls' first win in the NBA Finals was win number 84. The Seattle Supersonics equals 84. And now, the greatest of all time has gematria of 86. The Bulls entered Game 6 with 86 wins for the season. The narrative of Game 6 was the Bulls become the greatest team of all time that year, and Michael Jordan become the greatest of all time. And that is what win number 87 symbolized during this rigged and scripted championship run for the Chicago Bulls during the 50th edition of the NBA Finals. Invincible, unbeatable. Unbeatable as gematria of 83. The Bulls entered that NBA Finals with 83 wins. This was the script. Unbeatable Bulls, 41-3 run to begin the season. Truly amazing. Are the Bulls nicknamed the Invincibles? I don't know. Invincibles 118. Phil Jackson 118 and 46. He coached at Chicago. The revelation to code with Washington and the Chicago Bulls equaling 49 is really the big thing to note with 49 prior NBA Finals before the 50th NBA Finals.